What's unique about what we do here is that we don't just teach you to communicate with your horse. We help you to get rid of the blockages that stop that from happening naturally, so that the two-way communication flows easily and naturally and is useful to you on an everyday basis. And this story about Mandy is one example. Mandy had a shocking but all too common story to tell in a clinic here at Rokeby when she went looking inside herself to figure out where her chronic stress and tension was coming from. As a child, in absolute opposition to everything that she knew inside of herself, she had been made by her parents to whip and kick an already very scared horse, who reared up and fell on top of her. Then he was lunged by her mother until he was sweating and distressed, and she was made to get back on while both of them shook with shock and fear. And that wasn't even the worst part. Quattro then went to the horse market, and he was picked up by some cowboys who thought they'd be able to tame this good-looking horse. With a succession of riders, he bucked and reared and threw himself down on the ground and into the walls of the round pen. These kind of stories are so common and so bloody unnecessary. Mandy lost track of him when he disappeared back into the markets. And as a little girl, Mandy's been carrying the trauma of her part in this all her life, and it had blocked her natural ability to hear and feel the animals that she loved so much. Standing in the hayshed that day, recognising where her stress and tension had come from, released it. And Mandy stepped into a beautiful new way of being and feeling and communicating with the animals and people in her life. So when you were doing the release, you'd done the release on Quattro and you'd cleared all the negative, and you went back inside to look for the positive, what happened then? What was the positive that came out that day that had you humming with joy and your energy expanded?
I think it was the ability to finally be able to help others, because that's essentially what I want to do.
Yep.
I want to help, and I really want to help my animal friends and my family as well. And it just made me a more positive person. The whole next week, I was just, when I talked to people, it was, my outlook on everything was so positive because my energy was just so high and it was just circulating, and everything that anyone said to me, there was a positive that I could give them. And then I think it brought their energy up as well. So it was really cool.
Yeah, that's the Buddha and the clock thing.
Yeah.
The clocks and the clock thing.
Yeah.
So when you went inside yourself for that last time on that day that you released the Quattro blockage, you had some trouble with your feet.
Mm-hmm.
As you went inside, your feet were really sore and you couldn't figure out what that was about. Can you remember what that was about now?
I remember that I said that was to do with my mum's pony who had found it.
Yep.
He's still struggling, but he is getting there. But he had an awful pain in his feet. And I'm not sure if that was me tuning into him or not.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it was. It was me tuning into him.
Him trying to tell you something.
Yeah, and I think that gave me the courage, I suppose, to try and help Mum do the best thing for him. They were using a lot of buttes and things like that, and I don't.
No, well, they actually toxify them.
Yeah, I don't think that's the answer. So
Makes them more toxic.
I offered her some natural alternatives. The feed that we feed our Shetland is a lamnitis approved feed, so she got some of that for him, and he's on the mend now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So the end result was this incredible expansion in being able to hear. Very exciting. See, getting rid of what was stopping Mandy's natural communication with animals reopened her natural ability to operate the way that is normal for her. And in the case of that laminitic pony, she was feeling that horse's pain. Just be aware that's not everybody's way of feeling for their horse. I talk about the different ways that you can experience feel and communication in the Keys to Happiness with your horse, which if you haven't got those already, you can pick up at the end of this video. Since that day, Mandy has further developed her inner guidance system to improve her health issues and to help others, which was always her dream. So her whole life was transformed from that. Lovely stuff.